Hey, good morning, guys. It's Goose here, and welcome to STN Stock Talk with Ricky and myself. Hope you guys are feeling great today. I know I am. I just want to remind you guys to come join us over here at stocktraders.net. Join our free trading room over here, guys, and feel free to ask us any questions about any of the things that we're talking about this morning or anything else you might have. Great community over there, lots of widgets, new things added every day. Hopefully you guys have come over and checked us out. And there's nothing there. I mean, you guys could just join our free trading floor if you like that, and we could always tell you more about other things that we have. Just to remind you guys that nothing that we're discussing is any type of solicitation. Ricky and I are just throwing ideas at you, things we're looking at possible setups and things like that for us. Make sure you guys are doing your own due diligence. Read the disclaimer below in the description area, and just trade smart, guys. Trade your own plans. We're just giving you the ideas. We're trying to just keep it to a couple every day, and keep this around 10 minutes for you guys. Lastly, let me just turn this over to Rick. I know he's got some great ideas. Every day we're coming up with new ideas, guys. And we're not just trying to come up with the top two things on the scans. We're trying to come up with some unique thoughts on things just so you have it there. So just have that in mind on some of the ideas we come across, that we're reaching for new thoughts every day and not just what everybody else in the street is talking about. So hopefully you guys are finding that helpful. If you have other ideas, feel free to send us a message at stocktraders.net. Just shoot a PM and see something more that you'd like. I asked the room the other day. Got some good input, and I'm going to try to implement that a little bit more. So anyway, let me turn this over to Ricky, and excited to hear what he has to say. He has a lot on the agenda here. So Ricky, go ahead, man.
Thanks a lot, Goose. And right after Goose tells you guys that we're going to try to always have original new ideas, I'm going to hit you with one that was straight off yesterday's, RKDA. Actually, I just want to start by mentioning that today is all about one thing and one thing only, and that is RKDA for me, and it's sympathy plays. So if you weren't aware already, SEED and YTEN, those moves yesterday were just sympathy moves based off of RKDA, ripping shorts a new one. So almost all of my attention is going to be on those today. RKDA may have the single funniest 13D I've ever read in my life. It not only shows you why the float is so small, but there's also some extremely funny comedy further down in the details. I'm not going to get into that, but let me point out that at its highs yesterday, this thing traded at 18 times ATR. That number alone is usually significant enough for me to have something on high alert for a short watch, but then you take into account of what it had to do in order to hit that number. After the previous 3 days had an average range of $6. So that shows you how absolutely nuts this move is. This seriously wouldn't surprise me if it pushed again today. You can see it already has started. The fundamentals behind it tell you exactly kind of what's going on. And if you want to short this, guys, you must know how to identify a backside trigger in order to even remotely think about trying to short this thing. The backside's going to be huge when it happens, but Buddha better have your back if you get caught on the front side short. This thing proved yesterday that even with the backside trigger, it can still turn back up and rip in your face. And with a float as small as this one and a few other fundamental reasons, I'd be willing to sit on my hands all the way up to triple digits on this thing. It was easy to borrow at light speed yesterday, and when I woke up this morning, it was easy to borrow at light speed. They yanked them. It's no longer easy to borrow, and I currently don't have locates on it, so there may not be a play for me on the short side, but it is the main watch, and especially with SEED and YTEN both being sympathy plays. So let me just look at the levels from this one, guys. You can see 50 is going to be the kind of key number right here. If it can show that it holds this 50, there's no telling how high this thing can go. You can't just short at any random number and think that you may be able to pick the top. The top could be 100. The top could, I mean, some of you guys remember things like Dries or Elfin or whatever. Those things are monsters, and this thing has the share structure to make those look weak. I mean, shorts are tripping over themselves already. So those are the things to pay attention for, how it holds 50. If we can get under 50 and maybe show 50 as a cap, then maybe you guys can start looking for lower highs and lower lows. But as I said, stay off the front side of this unless you plan on longing it. With that being said, I'm going to move on to SEED, which was one of the sympathy plays yesterday. They actually put out a 6K earlier this morning. These guys are not asleep at the wheel, and they'll try to capitalize on this hype. I'm pretty sure it's old news too. In fact, it seems to almost be the same investor presentation as the one in November of 2016, except with blockchain added in there. And I'm almost certain I remember Seed talking about blockchain just a few months ago as well. And believe their float's more around 20 million, and they constantly sell off after big moves. So this may be the easier short anyway. You can see it's kind of butting up right against that downtrend, the longer term downtrend on the year, as well as you got the 200 SMA, which it was over yesterday, but so far it's had a weak pre-market. It's trying to push up again in sympathy with RKDA. These guys traded at 8 times ATR yesterday. So I would like to see a push up to the 170 area to really get interested. But again, we're going to take what the market gives us. It's going to depend on RKDA. I know I'm going to sound repetitive saying that, guys. Next thing I'm looking at is YTEN, YTEN, another sympathy play, another long-term chart that just shows big pops followed by big sell-offs. They are finally over the price of their offering they did just 3 months ago, and there is a ton of warrants at 225. I think like 8.5 million warrants. So anything above 3, a push to 4, whatever it wants to give us is going to be interesting. Guys, you have to understand that my strategy is all about identifying the turn, using lower highs and lower lows, as well as some moving averages. I have my strategy. You have to have yours. You have to know how to identify the backside. All of these can be dangerous, especially with RKDA moving the way it is. So make sure you stay off the front side. But I think Seed and YTEN might be the easier shorts with their floats not being as microscopic as RKD is. The last thing on my list, guys, is ATHX, which is kind of just on the watch because of the daily candle it put in here. It's just a big, ugly, inverted hammer with a red day. It pushed up into that psychological 2 level with some resistance. You see levels to the left on the daily chart. This float is much, much larger than these other ones. They have a huge ATM with a spire, so there's reasons to watch this for short as well. I'm looking at it if it can crack 190 or maybe even give us a push to show a little more extension. But that's it for me, guys. I really want to reiterate, stay safe out there today because some of the things I just put on watch can be dangerous, okay? So I'm going to hand it over to Goose and see what he's got cooking. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks a lot and great job. And I love that you're staying steady as far as reiterating the safety part, guys. This is we've talked about the market that we're in and stuff like that. Just be safe, guys. Be smart. I'm going to dive right into one of the things that Ricky was talking about before I go into a couple of my ideas and sympathy plays. I can't tell you the amount of times, whether it's some of these other names even like that are running like Nvidia, and I play AMD or something like that. Not today, but in the past. It's just easier sometimes with sympathy plays. So just have that on your mind, that those might be just easier trades if you see them popping up. And remember, the bids could disappear on some of these other ones so fast, it's not even funny. They could get a quick Twitter pump or something like that, and they're gone. So just careful with your chasing and fear of missing out and all that kind of stuff, and stay smart with these. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into ALXN. It's already given a little bit of the trade that I was looking at so far this morning. And I want to just show you what I was seeing is, first of all, the way it acted after that pullback was perfect. I mean, I do this from a pre-market from the prior close just to where the high was pre-market and pulled back pretty much into this. It ran a little bit through it, but reclaimed it, as you can see. And right now it's hitting up against this 136 area. But what I would like to see on ALXN this morning is a pullback into the low 130s, somewhere in this range right here, 130, 131, using that figure as a guide. It doesn't mean I'm not going to pay 132, 133 on a pullback, because I like this as a push back up into that 138, 140. And it's already now it's only a couple bucks away from it. So obviously I'm not going to chase it right at the open here. What I would love to see is an imbalance, a big wash at the open. Everybody thinking this is way too much on the stock, and I'll be looking at a buy on this thing and trade it that way. You could see that the 130 level. The reason I'm looking at that is on the daily. It's kind of broken through, and this is the gap. So I'm going to use that now as a little bit of a support area and see how it acts. So very interesting to me, this ALXN, and I'm definitely long bias on it. But entry's got to be key for me. So I'll be patient and just wait and see if it sets up for me. Next thing I want to talk to you about is ZSAN. Again, all these other, stocks are flying, and I don't know, the ZSAN is just hanging in there. And, I don't ever want to get too crazy buys. Now, usually I would look at this and say, against this 200 day, close below it, it's got to be a short. But I still like the way this is kind of holding in this range, is 14 to 16 area. And something's kind of telling me that, if it wants to hold again today, this 15 or 1450 area, I could see this revving up and making a push. I just feel like it's been holding in here a little bit. I think people were probably expecting it to fail a little bit sooner. It hasn't. And I'm going to be looking at a long entry on this thing. I would love to get it in the 14s using this candle from a couple days ago as a guide. Maybe you got to size yourselves accordingly, guys, understanding the the range on these names, especially allow for all that slippage and stuff. So that being said, I like ZSAN. I'm going to be looking at a long. Another one that popped up earlier this morning that I didn't really tweet out was I will also, just as another, Riot, I mentioned to you guys a little while ago. I just want to mention Riot again. So far, it's been pretty heavy. It's broken the levels of support, but they did come out with a PR this morning. I'll have my eyes on that if it wants to make a quick higher low this morning or do a little wash back into that prior close, I might take a long on this and see if it wants to push back up towards that this pivot area right here, which is going to be like 1930 or so. So maybe, or 930, sorry. So just a little freebie out there, another thing that I'm eyeing this morning on one of these low price ones. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ricky. Stay safe today, guys. Let's have a great day, and appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks.
Yep, I also appreciate everybody every day showing up and letting us have a platform to speak from, try to share some knowledge and value. As always, guys, come on over to stocktraders.net, message us, see what we're all about. I guarantee you we provide 20 times the value to that community that you're getting from this live stream 10 minutes every morning. So come over and check us out. As always, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a trade. Stay safe out there. Let's go out there and crush it. Peace.